back to another episode of HR Unlocked with your host, Abby.
Wait a minute. We're talking about your
And
host, AJ.
with a little accent.
This is AJ. Welcome back to work.
Welcome back to work, employees.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Welcome to the town hall. You know what? I think we need to start. Some of our episodes can be town halls. But I think we need like a podium and all
Yeah.
that.
Maybe we need to make it more official.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I'm official already. I don't know about you. Yeah,
Yes.
welcome here. Welcome to HR Like the podcast. We're so happy to have you. You know, we have a lot of fun here, as you can imagine. And sometimes HR people, we don't have a lot of fun at work because sometimes it's so serious.
Sometimes. I'm sorry.
I mean, you were tickled on that one.
Because you made it seem like we just having a ball.
Well, sometimes we do, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
we-
no. Sometimes I enjoy my folks. I enjoy going to work. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Abby, I got a story for you.
Yeah, okay. Spill.
So this employee sends their manager a picture of their car that got into a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
The manager says this: "Keep me updated on what time you're expecting to be here."
Ooh.
Now this car is pretty messed up.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I see that.
And then they say, the manager, "It's understandable why you will be late,
Mhm.
but regardless, anything that prevents you from being at work other than death in the family is an unexcused absence at any company."
That's ruthless.
I mean,
That's a little ruthless.
that's what we're talking about. Where's the empathy?
Yeah, you're not gonna ask them, "Are you okay?"
I mean, hello. Glad you're not dead.
Yeah, like when are you gonna show up for work?
Right.
But it goes back to, I think people romanticize the time, like people are like, oh, the Ford industry, clocking in and clocking out, those are the best times. Like, yeah, pensions were great. Honest, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But treating people like numbers instead of people is not amazing.
And that's what angers employees so much is, and they say we don't care about them because of messages like that.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, that's horrible.
For sure. I mean, imagine if that was your friend, your mother, your brother, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just the bare minimum to be to ask, "Are you okay?"
Are you okay? I mean, at least let that be the first question.
Yeah,
Not
before
let
you
me
go,
know
when
what
you
time-
gonna come to work?
Right. Not what time are we expecting you to be here? I mean, are
And-
you okay? You made it out safe? Do you need anything from me? And then later, maybe,
Be like,
Just
"Are you
check-
able to come
Yeah,
to work?
like,
Is that a
just-
possibility today?"
or you can say, just checking in with you. Do you need any type of? I know you've been here. You're eligible for FMLA, or do you need any type of leave?
Right,
Right.
Here's
And
our
maybe that's
EAP
what,
program. Maybe
Yeah.
you need some support.
yeah,
We
and
have
maybe
that.
maybe we come in there, but the managers and or supervisors and or people leaders should be able or equipped to ask those basic questions.
For sure. And I think, right now, a lot of organizations are taking on the code of being high performance organizations.
Yeah.
Meaning their only drivers are KPIs. Which granted, I get it. At the end of the day, you shut a customer down, you shut, one of your, major customers down, that can cost you
Downtime.
hundreds of thousands of dollars an hour.
Yeah.
So it is important to be high performing.
Yeah.
But at what cost, right? And also when you lose that human element, you're not going to be able to perform because you won't be able to keep people.
Yep. Morale is down. Culture.
Right.
That's your culture. KPI numbers.
Yes.
Data.
And I've heard that before, people saying, "Oh, this is a high performance organization, high performance." Absolutely. We want to perform.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there also needs to be some sort of balance in that.
Because at the end of the day, the people are your most important asset. They're the most important. If without them, there will be no company.
Not at all.
You couldn't manufacture anything. You couldn't deliver anything to stores, locations. You couldn't drive any trucks. You couldn't.
Right.
There's a lot of things you couldn't do without the people, right? So yeah, treat them as such.
Yeah.
Right?
And I mean, a lot of organizations who are not unionized will say, "Oh my gosh, I think we're going to get unionized," and they'll get really, really concerned and worried, which you shouldn't,
Yep.
because unionization often occurs as a result to employees not being heard.
Yeah.
not being taken care of in the way that they should be, meaning like basic ethical things that should happen
Yep.
aren't happening. So yeah, I think that you get managers like this, which I mean, I'm sure, maybe he's a great manager, but at what cost?
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you just shouldn't treat people like that, in my
You
opinion.
shouldn't.
That's a sad. And also, he's interpreting. I hope he's interpreting their attendance policy correctly, because
Exactly.
it seems threatening.
Yeah.
What he's saying.
Basically,
Oh, there's
you
no
don't-
excuse.
If you don't come, you'll be have an unexcused absence, and you're potentially on termination. So we'll
Right.
Well, you know how they would look in court. I had a car accident, and my company terminated me.
Yeah.
Now the company could argue, well, things led up to this last and final termination, a last and final occurrence, so it led to termination.
Absolutely.
But still, like,
Yeah, it doesn't
how
look good.
embarrassing. Headline: HR like the podcast terminates the employer for having a wreck.
No,
For
yeah,
having a wreck.
it's
Crazy.
unreal.
Yeah.
But okay, to play devil's advocate there, we don't know what happened before. This
True.
could be
Yep.
this employee could be have a slew of problematic events,
Yep.
have really horrible attendance, and maybe the manager is fed up. Not to say that's still an appropriate response,
Yep.
but it's all contextual, right? We can snip one portion of a conversation and not see the larger picture.
But we, as good HR professionals as we are, we wouldn't, if this can't hit our desk, we wouldn't approve this term.
No, we would definitely, first of all, we would do our due diligence and do the proper investigation and ask the questions. Okay. So if this person does have 5 points and 6 is their termination, were we warning them along the way?
Yep.
Do you have documentation? And then some managers, I'm not saying every managers, but I've worked places where managers are like, all right, he was 1 minute late today and that's it.
That's it.
And he's terminated. And I'm like, well, everybody was late today because there was a horrible wreck on the highway. And
Yep.
how is it fair that you're singling out this one person for being late when
Exactly.
everyone was late
Yep.
today? You know,
Good point.
and those occasions can be rare, but they do happen. We have some of our best employees, that I work with that have been late because 459 gets backed up and they're coming from wherever.
Yeah.
So you can't help that. There's going to be days that those things happen for sure. And I'm not saying we block approve any of that, but sometimes they can be a little bit of gray, and we have to assess and see what is truly, are we being consistent? Not even fair, because I don't really like the word fair, because that's
Could that be
subjective, to the individual.
Well, employees, we wanted to really quickly, public service announcement. I want to just make sure we're clear on this, because I think there's misunderstanding of our role and what we do. So listen very open your ears, Go ahead and like and subscribe, but open your ears. HR did not fire you. We did not say, Brenda, we love Brenda. Brenda, you're terminated. We did not solely make the decision. Now, there are some cases where there's investigation, right? We may have to do the termination at that point, but our job is not to terminate any employee. That's not what we do. I know a lot of people have the misconception of we hire and fire, right? That's all we do.
Yeah, for sure.
And throw parties.
Right. That's it.
But
I mean,
but it's so many other things.
recommendations too, right? Because there are times that I've seen where employees should or have, I don't want to say they should be terminated, but they have behaved in a way that they should have been terminated.
Yeah.
And our recommendation is, hey, per our policy, this is unacceptable.
Yep. Code of conduct.
Yeah. And we can't, even though this person may have been great for a year and a half, this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. And that's it.
That's right.
So yeah, I don't know. It's like I was saying, some of that is situational. Yeah. We don't, but yeah, I never go into a meeting or a conversation leading with termination ever.
Yeah.
Because there's so much resources put into hiring an individual. So when we fire you guys, it's at a detriment to us.
Yep.
most of the time.
Yeah.
Even if you've been working for 2 days, because there is a price to a bad hire, you know,
Yeah.
there is a cost to a bad hire. I
Yeah.
mean, background checks, all those things. So it is not in the company's interest to have high turnover ever.
Yeah. And how can we remain unbiased if we're doing the term, right? I mean, we're unbiased people or unbiased department. We should be. But if, to your point, if we've hired you, you've seen us throughout the process,
Mm-hmm.
the onboarding,
Mm-hmm.
the orientation, you see us, and then now we're in another room, we gotta let you go. Like,
Yeah, that's not
wow.
comfortable.
Like, who do they go to at that point,
Right.
right? Like, if they feel their termination is not justified, or they feel it's unfair, and all these things, and you're the one doing the term, well, who do they go to?
Right.
It's hard for them to trust us already.
Yeah.
You know, because there's this negative connotation that HR is not for your friend.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like you. They're
They're the
not for you.
police. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, again, we created this podcast to give you insight and information on who we are, what we do,
Mm.
and why we're here. And
Yes.
we're always trying to share information with you with those reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one: like, solely termination decision is not us.
No.
It's typically your leadership, whether it's production,
Mm-hmm.
retail, whatever. Your manager, your supervisor are having conversations, and something happens, and they want a term, and
Right.
they consult us. And if all the documentation is there, there's less risk. There's if you've been the bad actor,
Mm.
we ultimately support it, but we have to support it with the proper documentation.
For sure. And that's what we're there to kind of be that counsel to
Yep.
management. But then there's also other situations where there are things like reduction in forces
Yep.
or a company closes its doors. And those situations are
tough.
not, yeah, they're not something that we choose either. Because a lot of the times, those messages come from higher up and they're saying, hey, listen, due to this amount of sales loss this year, we have to, reduce your site by 4.
Yep.
You need to make an analysis as to how you're going to operate and make that decision. And that's when we have to, again, have those tough conversations with plant management and local site, management to figure out what are our choices.
Yep.
And those are tough too.
Those are
But
tough.
again, they're not solely led by us.
Yeah. And it may look like it,
I
and,
know it.
and it's tough to believe and hear from true HR professionals who are sometimes in those rooms, in those conversations. They're letting us in on, hey, your site is closing. I was in one, 2 years ago. Hey, your site's closing. And it's like, man,
Yeah.
it hits home because you go back and look at all the people, after those conversations, you're like, man,
Yeah.
and you can't really say anything right now because it's not public knowledge and all the things. So we don't always like it. I mean, I don't think we ever really like to term, because the thought is someone is losing their job. But it's part of what we signed up for. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for coming to the town hall, employees. I got to keep this one on track.
Oh, Lord.
Or she'll just keep going on and on. Oh, I said I wasn't gonna beat you up too bad on this episode. Yeah. Am I still doing that?
No, it's a little bit better. A
thank
little bit.
Okay. Follow us and
Yes.
subscribe, like the video, do all the things a good employee does. We are here. We are doing some episodes. We need to do the photo shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Whose fault is that?
It's my fault. Well, we've been busy too. Let's be real. But
yeah.
yeah, we're
Yep.
doing some things in the background.
Yeah. She's just screwing
I
up.
thought I wasn't gonna get. I thought I wasn't
Oh,
gonna
you're
get
right.
berated.
I'm
this
sorry. It
episode.
just kind of just comes out. What people say it comes out like butter?
Oh,
Butter
yeah.
or water.
Water.
Okay. Well.
I don't think butter makes sense.
Yeah. Subscribe. Do all the good things a good employee does.
Absolutely. Send us questions if you have them.
Please send us questions. We got some questions. We got some questions we need to read.
Oh,
But
great.
send us more. What else? Anything else on this? Am I missing anything else?
I don't think so. We thank you so much for tuning in as always.
Yep.
So until next week. Oh,
That is right.
Until our next meeting.
Bye. What is up with that?
Free.